All right, everyone. So we have this video here from Six. Now we have seen him on this channel before. He did collaborations with Swag Kage and Set the Programmer on videos that we've watched from them. But I was asked to react to a video of his that's available on his channel, and we will react to it. But I saw this video that he had where its title Has Boruto Even Developed, and I was just really curious to go ahead and check this video out first, and we will go ahead and watch the other video that was recommended to me. You should be seeing that soon after this video gets released. So when it comes to the character of Boruto Uzumaki, when he was first brought into the fandom, I guess, with the Boruto movie, and then later on, of course, the Boruto manga, and then the Boruto anime, a lot of people were not really happy when it comes to how the character was being portrayed, including myself. I'll throw myself in there. He was way too bratty. He was just way too annoying, always complaining. Oh, why is my dad not here? Oh, why is he so busy? Like, why do I barely see him? Now, granted, you can understand why a kid would be upset about that. A kid not upset about not really seeing his dad all that much. That's completely understandable, but it's a little bit difficult for a lot of us old school Naruto fans who grew up with this character to automatically be introduced to a main character who just sees this character that we all saw. We were all there with him on his journey from the beginning all the way to the end. And some of us maybe got into the series a little bit later than, a little later than most people, but we were still there. We still saw his journey from where he was in chapter 1 all the way to chapter 700 of the manga, not including the 10 extra chapters of the creator Masashi Kishimoto added later on. I think it's called Naruto Gaiden, Scarlet Spring, if I remember correctly, that focuses on Sarada finding Sasuke and that whole story. But officially, like, the official Naruto manga ended with chapter 700, and we were all there to see Naruto's growth from beginning all the way to the end. And then automatically we are given this sequel series where it's focusing on the son of that character, and we're just seeing him completely crap all over him. And even though, again, you can understand where he's coming from, but it's a little bit difficult because for a lot of us, again, we saw where Naruto was, so seeing this kid just completely crap all over him, it got a little bit annoying. Now, granted, he did grow as the series went on, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, but Boruto is better now than he was before. Granted, for me personally, I'm still not all that, I'm not really that big of a fan of the character. I don't think he's this annoying brat anymore, obviously, because again, he has grown. I do acknowledge that, but overall, I'm just not a fan of the character. I'm sorry. Again, I know a lot of people have changed their mind on him, and that's completely fine. That's normal. That happens with stories. We feel one way about a character at one point, and then as time goes on, we either change our minds or we are less, I don't know if hostile is the right word towards them, but we're less critical of them. I think that's a better word than we were before. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, again, I acknowledge the development of the character, but at the same time, I can still say that I'm not really all that fond of the character. Like, that's just my own personal subjective opinion. So again, I'm curious to see this video and what Six thinks of this. Again, I will check out the other video that was recommended to me. Again, you should be seeing it after this video gets put out on the channel. And if you're watching this and you have your own recommendation, if there's a video out there that you want me to watch and react to and give my thoughts on, just tell me about it in the comment section down below. Don't link it, because I think YouTube removes links, because a lot of people have been leaving faulty links in the comments. So I think they did something where they automatically remove any links. So just tell me the title of the video and the channel where I can find it, and I will get to it when I get to it. And also, if you want to show your support for the channel, you know what to do. Make sure to leave a like, share this video out there, subscribe if you haven't, make sure to ring the bell icon to be notified whenever I post a new video. Consider becoming a channel member by clicking on the join button that is located right next to the subscribe button. And don't just comment with your recommendations, comment with your thoughts. If you have thoughts on what we saw in this video or any of my own commentary, just let me know about them in the comments, and let's go ahead and watch this video. Wow, that was a bit of an intro. I'm sure someone will probably like put in the comments like, hey, actual reaction starts at, and they include the timestamp. So all right, let's go ahead and watch this.
Boruto came out originally in 2015 with the release of Boruto Naruto the movie. To say it's been a struggle for the series to completely grab the attention of Naruto's original fan base would be an understatement. While Boruto does have its own pretty sizable community, to say that it has a loud minority of people who really enjoy it and a silent majority of people who either don't like it or ignore it would not be doing the state of the community justice. Since Boruto release, there has been numerous adjectives tied to Boruto's character. Bland, boring, not strong enough, too strong, or underdeveloped. For this video, I'd like to take a look at that last adjective in particular because for the most part, it's something I largely disagree with, especially coming down to just the first arc of the series. No matter which way you choose to enjoy the franchise, whether it be anime, manga, movie, or novelizations. This is a bit important because for the majority of this, I'm going to be talking about the manga version of Boruto since it's what I'm most familiar with, but this is something that needs to be...
By the way, I just want to comment on, what he just said right here. Yeah, I mean, what he just said about, Boruto being underdeveloped completely isn't, the case. That's actually true. I mean, again, however you feel about the character, you can't deny that the character has grown as the series went on. You can't deny that. I mean, you can clearly see it if you read the manga, which I think is honestly easier now because you can just, binge read the manga from chapter 1 all the way to, we are up to chapter 9 as of the record, or not chapter 9, excuse me, chapter 79 as of the recording of this video. It's a lot easier as opposed to for a lot of us where we wait every single month for a new chapter to come out. For me personally, I would recommend someone wait until the series is over before you read it, because I'm not gonna lie, one of my biggest criticisms for the story of Boruto, especially with Kishimoto taking up the writing, is it's not really made, at least his style of writing isn't really made for a monthly format. You know what I mean? Like, even though every chapter will have something happen, the thing is it leaves it on a cliffhanger, which is good, and that's normal for a lot of series, but it works better for a weekly format, or at the very least a bi-weekly format, because the way Kishimoto writes, he likes to build up to things, which is good. Again, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like with that style of writing, asking people to wait a whole month before getting any new content it doesn't really fit, But again, that's just my thoughts. If other people disagree with me, that's completely fine. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Boruto being underdeveloped now, especially, I think is completely false. I mean, again, however you feel about the character, I just said how I feel about the character. Personally, I'm not all that fond of him. I don't hate the character. I'm just personally really not that into the character, if I'm being honest. But I still acknowledge that, yeah, the character has developed. He's not the same character he was back in I think it was 2016 when the manga, chapter 1 of the manga came out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because the Boruto movie came out in 2015, and the manga started to publish its its chapters in 2016, if I remember correctly. Because I don't think it was all that long before, or all that long after the movie came out, that they started coming out with the Boruto manga. And I think that what kind of pushed people away was finding out that, oh, the manga is just going to retell the events of the movie, which a lot of people were not a fan of. Now, thankfully, unlike with the Dragon Ball Super manga, when it was retelling the movies, or it only retold one of the movies, it kind of skipped Resurrection F. It retold Battle of Gods, and if I remember correctly, I think it was like 4 chapters of the Super manga before. Sorry, it's been a minute, but yeah, I don't think it was that long before they immediately jumped to new content. When it got to the whole Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament thing. So yeah, I still don't understand why they made those decisions to just retell the movies, even though people have already seen the movies. Same thing with the Dragon Ball Super anime and even the Boruto anime. Now, the Boruto anime did something that the Dragon Ball Super anime didn't do when it was retelling the movies, is it actually made it interesting. Like it actually added some things. Like for example, in the Boruto movie, you didn't have Urashiki, whereas in the anime, Urashiki was there. And then of course you had the I think it's called the time slip arc, if I remember correctly, which is just awful. But it did like continue with that character, as opposed to Dragon Ball Super, where it was just in a lot of ways worse than what it was in the movies. And so that's one thing that the Boruto anime manga did right, as when you compare it to the Dragon Ball Super manga and anime. But anyway, that was a long tangent. Let's go ahead and continue.
Be said separate from that. This first arc has multiple retellings, and it's important people don't mix them up, as they are all, maybe with the exception of the movie and novelization, different arcs. I plan to do another video in the future on why the Naruto franchise's canon just sort of sucks, so I'll save that for then. But for now, just
it is a little bit it's unfortunate, because when it comes to the canon of Boruto, it's a little bit difficult, because you've got the manga, you've got the anime, you've got the novels, which sometimes the manga will reference the novels, but at the same time you've got the anime which doesn't, and it's just a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, which is, I mean, are the books canon or are they not? Because sometimes the anime will reference the novels but the manga doesn't, and sometimes the manga will reference the novels but the anime doesn't. It's weird, dude. It's a weird thing. And again, this is one thing that does have in common with Dragon Ball, where it is now, or at least its sequel, Dragon Ball Super, where you've got the manga, you've got the anime, you've got the movies, and you're like wondering, okay, well, what the hell's canon? And it's like, honestly, I don't know. I mean, they did say about the Boruto anime that it does fill in what the manga can't. I understand that, but at the same time, it's like when the manga references the novels, but then the anime doesn't. Then when the anime references the novels and the manga doesn't, it does get a little bit confusing, because now you're wondering, okay, well, are the novels canon or not? You know what I mean? Like, for example, in the manga, Sarada has her 3 Tomoe Sharingan, but in the anime, she still hasn't. And now that the anime is over, and Sarada's never once shown her 3 Tomoe Sharingan, so I'm like, well, what happened? I don't know. It's weird, dude. It's all over the place.
listen to this video with that in mind, and I'm only talking about the manga. As such, for anyone who currently reads the manga, this video should help you get better insight on Boruto's character. And if you don't read the manga, this should be a good recap of some of the events, so you can decide if you want to or not. Before getting started, I'd like to just ask if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe, as it does help the channel out a lot, and this video took lots of research. I'm also fairly sick right now, so I don't think I sound too much different, but if you think I sound different, that's 100% why I sound different. Since we're starting with the Momoshiki arc in the manga, it's important to note for anime fans that this is the first arc of Boruto in the manga. So Boruto is already a genin by the time this story begins in the manga, and the genin exams, as well as some other stuff for why Boruto dislikes Naruto, are not there, although he still doesn't really like Naruto in the manga. Like Boruto says in the beginning here, this is his story, but at the beginning he has to share it a little bit with his dad. This first arc serves as the turning point into the character Boruto is going to be for this sequel series, and giving him his ninja way, which is essential for actually being a shinobi. There is debate over when Boruto actually stopped sharing the story with Naruto, especially since Naruto is still in the series for a pretty big while, and I think it's important for this video I make it clear that I think this stopped.
It's actually kind of funny when you know what happened recently
With the Momoshiki arc, but that will be elaborated on later on in the video. Boruto, just like Naruto with Jiraiya, requires a teacher, which he comes to find in Sasuke. I know that by this point we're only 2 chapters in, but it's extremely consistent with Boruto's character, someone who doesn't like Naruto, that he'd be drawn to a guy like Sasuke, who is quite literally the opposite of Naruto. If Naruto's the sun, Sasuke's the moon, you get what I'm saying? Well, determined to beat his dad and asking to become Sasuke's student, Boruto is tasked with learning the Rasengan. And I think it's important to point out that for Boruto to become the shinobi...
So a lot of people I've seen online have already pointed this out, but it's nice to see where the art style was compared to where it is now. I think it's much better, and it's a little bit closer to how Kishimoto used to, draw these characters, or I think he still technically draws them pretty well. I think it's been a minute since we've seen him actually draw these characters. Now, thankfully, with the whole popularity vote thing they did with the official Naruto website, we are going to see a short story written and drawn by Kishimoto himself. Now, as opposed to which character, we'll see. I think if I remember, Minato won the character popularity poll, so I think he's going to get a short story written about him, which I'm actually really looking forward to that, because it's been a while since I've seen a story that was written and drawn by Kishimoto. Because I think that Kishimoto, he wrote Samurai 8, but I don't think he drew it. I think the artist for that series, I can't remember their name. Sorry. I think they got close to how Kishimoto draws, but still, like, I don't think there's the closest one that I can think of is the person in charge of the Sasuke Retsuden manga adaptation. I think he does a very good job of getting close to how Kishimoto draws how Kishimoto drew the Naruto manga. But yeah, Ikimoto has definitely gotten a lot better. For example, you see less of these less of these curls when it comes to Sasuke's hair. It's a lot more straight, just like how Kishimoto used to, just like how Kishimoto designed, adult Sasuke. And then even with Boruto, same thing. I mean, you can still see that it's Ikimoto, but he's doing a better job of emulating how Kishimoto draws the characters. And I think I always love seeing that, because it's the same thing with Toyotaro when it comes to drawing the manga. Now, I don't think he can emulate how Toriyama drew the manga, especially the Toriyama in his prime. But yeah, like, you can, if you read the Dragon Ball Super manga from beginning to where it is now, you can see the clear progression of the artwork. Like, he's gotten much better. Sorry, I know I'm getting into something that a lot of people probably don't really care about, but I personally care about it, and I can't help but point it out.
He wants to be, he has to learn the move of someone he doesn't want to be. And don't take what I'm about to say too hyper literally, but both Naruto and Boruto sort of cheat in order to do their Rasengan. However, it's sort of like the difference between someone cheesing a video game and someone turning on a mod menu. Naruto had difficulty forming the Rasengan and getting it to stay, so he just had another one of his clones focus on that part of it while his main body did the rest, cheesing the system. Boruto formed the Rasengan on accident, but it was too small, so he cheated and got a ninja tool and made a bigger one, which is a large part of the narrative for this arc. Boruto doesn't need to cheat, he just does cheat and takes shortcuts. He's plenty talented on his own. It'll be revealed later that he even put his own chakra nature into the Rasengan and formed an entirely new jutsu, the Vanishing Rasengan. So this small Rasengan that Boruto was so insecure about was actually better than the larger one he goes on to form later.
So yeah, just wanted to comment on that. But yeah, I think that's part of the reasons why a lot of people are not a big fan of the Boruto character, is that well, I mean, again, granted, to be fair, it doesn't really happen much now, thankfully. I think they kind of moved away from that. But yeah, this was one thing that and I think a lot of people were not a fan of, the fact that he just stumbled on a brand new technique and how he accidentally managed to do what Naruto had to struggle to be able to accomplish. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people were not really a big fan of the Boruto character. Again, thankfully, they don't really do that anymore. Thank God, and they moved away from that. Like right now, all of his techniques are actually earned. Now, it does come a little bit easier to him than most characters, but then again, they did establish that he did inherit like Minato's talent and his genius. Now, there are some places where he does fall short when it comes to, when you compare him to like Naruto or Sasuke or Minato, is that he, which is weird, despite being Naruto and Hinata's son, he doesn't really have as much chakra as them. Hell, even Sasuke, and I think a lot of people kind of forget this, but even Sasuke says when he was training Boruto, when Boruto, like showed him the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and he made like 4 clones, and he's like, yeah, look how impressive I am, and he's like, Sasuke's looking at him like, dude, your dad could make 1,000 of these when he was your age. It's like, that's not really all that impressive. So it's like, I just always found that funny that even though he's Naruto's son, he doesn't have like his like monstrous chakra reserves. So yeah, I mean, Boruto does have the talent, he does have the skills, and he does learn things a lot quicker. But there are places where he does, fall short. At least, especially when you compare him to Naruto, and when you compare him to Sasuke, and especially Sasuke. Like, there's sorry, I just hit my my monitor a little bit for a second. But there is a moment in the I think it's in one of the Boruto novels where Sasuke like takes over the training for Team 7, because I think something happened to Konohamaru. I can't remember if he got injured or whatever. But yeah, Sasuke was trying to teach them an ability, a technique that, if I remember correctly, I think it combined scientific ninja tech with ninjutsu, I think they used Team 7 used scientific ninja tech to make up for their shortcomings, because all of them had to work together to pull off this technique. Meanwhile, Sasuke could just do it like that, like it's nothing, like it's easy to him. It's as natural as breathing, and it shows you that for as talented as Boruto is, his level of talent is still nowhere near Sasuke's, and Sasuke's talent was nowhere near Itachi's. I mean, we all saw that in the Naruto manga. So it's like, yeah, there are I just like, when it comes to Boruto, a lot of people say like, oh well, like it's crazy how how easy things come to him, when it's like, dude, I mean, there are characters who have had things come way easier to them than Boruto did. Like, again, like, you look at Itachi, you look at Sasuke, you look at Kakashi, you look at Minato, you look at Jiraiya, and it's like all of them are these like insane, prodigious talents, and when you compare Boruto to them, it's like, it's kind of nothing, dude. And a lot of people are comparing, or a lot of people might compare Boruto now, and they'll compare him now to these characters when they were young, and it's like, well, that's not really a fair comparison, because like Boruto now has things that he doesn't really, or that the other characters didn't. For example, like, Boruto now has been made into an Otsutsuki. He's 100% Otsutsuki at a biological level, and we know that Otsutsukis are more naturally prone to using chakra than, well, pretty much, as far as we know, any other character in the universe. So not really a fair comparison. I mean, if you compare Boruto before he was Otsutsukified, and compare him to these characters when they were younger, it's not even close, not even a little bit. But let's go ahead and continue.
So also accomplished his goal. Sasuke was going to make him his student based on that first small Rasengan. Again, Boruto doesn't need to cheat, he just does. This difference between Naruto and Boruto is reflected in the panels when he learns the jutsu. Naruto is all beat up because he worked for it, while Boruto is clean because he didn't actually do any hard work to learn the jutsu. A few pages before this, when we see Boruto actually worked for his Rasengan, he's on the way home after thinking he just got rejected by Sasuke, and he wonders how it is he got so filthy, and in the reflection of the window he's looking into, he sees his dad looming over him. And I think the entire point of this page is to show that Boruto is taking the path of his father, which is obviously something he doesn't want to do. He even looks up at the statue in anger right before, on the next page, cheating and using his bigger Rasengan. Almost as if we're being shown directly, Boruto is going against his true nature. He even says to Sasuke, when Sasuke remarks how quickly he advanced, quote unquote, that he's not like his dad when it comes to talent. I'd like to take this time to remind everyone that Boruto is a 12-year-old kid. When you're younger, it's fairly natural that you're far more impatient than you would otherwise be with age. Comparatively, your sense of time is very small. Boruto also lives in a far more technologically advanced world than Naruto did, and the technology literally exists to make life easier. So an impatient kid with access to tools that can make him as strong as he needs to be makes for a fairly dangerous combo, and it's hard to blame Boruto for just taking that opportunity. There's one last thing needed to be brung up here that's super important, and that's that despite Boruto not liking Naruto all that much, he 100% longs for his approval and will go out of his way to get it most of the time. When Boruto is cheating in the Chunin exams, it's because his will to impress his father is just simply that strong, to the point that he would, even if it meant cheating in a battle against his friend, he would do that just to be able to beat him. Naruto extended his fist to Boruto for a fist bump, and when Boruto refused, Naruto just hit him on the chest. This moment was extremely important to Boruto, but since Boruto had the ninja tool on, it made it impossible to connect with his dad here, since he didn't want to show that.
I mean, he could have just used his other hand. I mean, all right. I always thought that was a little bit weird. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's on your right hand, but dude, just use your other hand.
Mean a lot to Naruto. Not to info dump, but I'll just show a few examples of what I mean. It's a way of connecting that's fairly special to him. I'm going to connect this to Boruto again here in a second, but now that the stage is set for Boruto's laziness and need for power, we can have our conflict come in. Boruto is stripped of his ninja headband and disqualified from the Chunin exams when Naruto discovers his use of ninja tools. Boruto, obviously happy about winning another match and going on to the finals, is excited about his dad coming down to congratulate him, and goes in for the fist bump he missed out on earlier, but Naruto grabs his hand, exposing the ninja tool beneath his sleeve, which once again stopped him from connecting with his father like he wanted to. Enter Momoshiki.
You know, I still always wondered why, like, why didn't he do this in private? Like, I don't understand why he did this, you know, publicly in front of everyone. Like that was a little low. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a fan of that. It's like, I still don't understand why he didn't ask Boruto. He's like, hey, can we just go talk over there for a second? And then he could have just said, okay, so I'm gonna need you to explain what the hell's going on with that thing you've got in your arm. Like, why do you have that? Like, you do remember me telling you that these things are illegal, or not illegal, that they're prohibited in the Chunin exams. I never understood why he didn't, like, wait to do this in private. This is just something that always kind of bugged me.
From connecting with his father like he wanted to. Enter Momoshiki. I want you to think about this for a moment. Regardless of how cool you think his design is, what is Momoshiki?
I don't think his design is cool, though, if I'm being honest. I don't think any of the Otsutskis have cool design. I think they're all stupid, and I'm not gonna go into my thoughts on the Otsutsuki clan in general. Not a fan of the design. Fused Momoshiki looked a little bit better, I will admit. But Kinshiki, not a fan. Thought it looked kind of bland and generic. Was the other one? Urushiki, wasn't a fan. Kaguya, wasn't a fan of her design. Who else is? Then there's Ishiki. Ishiki was just, I mean, Ishiki was a little bit better, I will admit, but overall still, again, kind of a boring design, if I'm being honest. And then you've got this new Otsutsuki, Shibai. Now he's the only one that looks semi-interesting, that looks a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from the Otsutsuki. And I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with him. I've seen some people theorize that maybe he's gonna be like the final villain of the series. I really hope that's not the case, because if that happens, then it's gonna be no different than what happened in Naruto, to where they're going up against an all-powerful Otsutsuki, and they need to stop him, and then the series is gonna be over, and there's probably gonna be like a final battle between Boruto and Kawaki, like how there was a final battle between Naruto and Sasuke. And I really hope that's not the case, because it's just, I mean, it'll just be a repeat of what we've already seen. And personally, a lot of people were not really that big on the war arc, and honestly, myself included. I mean, I knew there was always going to be a final fight between Naruto and Sasuke. I didn't think that was how it was going to happen. I really hope they don't, like, Kishimoto doesn't just repeat what he already did in the Naruto manga. I really hope something else happens with Shibai. I hope something way more interesting happens with him than just, hey, you guys are killing off my brethren, I need you to stop it. Even though, like, technically it wouldn't make sense for him to be able to go there because like you would think that he, like a lot of people, would need an anchor to, or not him, like Momoshiki, as Momoshiki said, like he needs an anchor to this world, and he doesn't want to go the way of Ishiki, where um where Ishiki, like he lost his vessel, and so because of that, his spirit moved over to the afterlife, and Momoshiki's only able to stay here because Boruto, his vessel, is still there. That's why he is desperate to keep him alive no matter what, and because if Boruto dies, then he dies. His spirit also moves to the afterlife. And when it comes to Shibai, I don't know. Again, like we'll see. I mean, maybe they can write or maybe Kishimoto can write a reason for why he's able to now interact with the living world. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. We'll see. But again, I just really hope he does something different with Shibai than just I'm gonna be like final big bad and that's it. Because if that's the case, then dude, like Shibai should just wipe them all out. Like the way he talked about this character, the way he had Amado talk about his character is just like this dude should just be able to like wave his hand and all of them would just die. Considering how strong he said this character was. So I really, really hope something else happens with Shibai other than just he's just the main villain. I do believe something is going to happen with him. You don't just name drop a character like that and talk about him and build him up to be this all-powerful entity and just do nothing with him, and you just use him as an explanation for how certain characters got that strong because they were grafted with his DNA, just like how characters were grafted with Hashirama Senju's DNA, which explained how they are able to get these power-ups. I really hope that's not the case.
What do people see Momoshiki as? Not a cool chakra alien god man, not a powerful Otsutsuki who they want to be as strong as. They see him as a monster. He's an ugly, gray alien monster who is literally Boruto's adopted personality of a cheater given physical form. Momoshiki shows up and starts talking about how with his chakra pills, one can easily and effortlessly gain true power. And when he says this, Boruto immediately begins looking at his ninja tool, since it's virtually the same in this aspect, even being advertised as much by Katasuke, who is under Genjutsu at this point, to be fair, but still. Naruto then calls Momoshiki a coward who just relies on doping, not that he has any actual true power. It's a good time for me to bring up, before moving on, that Sasuke has been trying to get Boruto to connect with Naruto for a while now, but not with the current Naruto, just who Naruto used to be, since before, Boruto only wanted to know about Naruto's weaknesses. After finally losing his dad and having it pointed out to him that he still hasn't lost anything compared to all Naruto didn't have, since he still has his mother and sister, Sasuke tells Boruto that the real version of himself is a strong shinobi that can surpass Naruto, with his guidance of course. Boruto putting on Naruto's old jacket is fairly important when trying to connect with him, and then putting on Sasuke's headband, Hinata even starts to see Naruto in Boruto. And since Boruto endured and wants to go find his dad, and shinobi are those who endure, Sasuke says he's finally acting like a shinobi. When they come across Naruto after rescuing him, he says that Boruto had finally become a ninja. I'm going to skip forward a bit here to Naruto and Sasuke beating Momoshiki. This is kind of important because Boruto has never seen Naruto go all out like this before. The first time Boruto even saw the Nine Tails was at the Chunin exams apparently, but there he was only able to get a gauge of Naruto's defensive skill. Here, Naruto gets to just cut loose and beat Momoshiki up, and Boruto thinks that's just amazing. Momoshiki then gets back up with the aid of Katasuke, who is using the ninja tools on him. He then goes on to capture the Fire Kage, and we then get a flashback to a scene we didn't get to see, which is Sasuke telling Boruto the reason he's taking him along on this mission, even though it's super dangerous. And that's that just in case him and the Fire Kage get captured or are in trouble, it's up to Boruto to get them out of it, which is exactly what Boruto does here with his vanishing Rasengan. Boruto also gets to connect with Naruto here through the chakra in his Rasengan, which lets him peer into some of Naruto's memories. He then defeats Momoshiki, and we get this panel right here, which shows Boruto dirtied up like Naruto in the same outfit, a direct counter to the panel we got earlier when Boruto was being a cheater. This is the real Boruto, And there are just a few more things we need to comment on for this arc. Earlier in the video, I mentioned why I thought this arc was the only time Boruto really shared the story with Naruto, and I said I'd elaborate on it later. Chapter 10 of Boruto is literally called My Story, and it ends with Boruto finding his shinobi way, which is Boruto doesn't want to be Hokage like his grandfather Minato or like his dad Naruto. He wants to be someone who protects the Hokage like Sasuke, which I mean makes sense given who his mentor is, Sasuke. We see him on TV in the village saying,
well, based on what happened in the most recent chapter, it seems like he might actually get his wish, although I feel like he might actually sort of start to regret it a little bit, because I don't think Boruto ever really understood what Sasuke actually goes through, to keep the world safe. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
that he thinks the most important parts of being a shinobi is teamwork and guts. We even get to see him and Naruto finally fist bump, something they couldn't do before due to Boruto not being the real version of himself. Boruto calls his dad Lord Seventh, showing he has respect for the title of Hokage now, which he previously didn't. This arc just kind of sets the stage for the rest of Boruto and what Boruto actually is, and it ends with Boruto declaring that this is his story. I think Boruto obviously keeps developing throughout the rest of this story. He basically has the resolve to just die on command now, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. One thing I think that's really important to his development is his relationship with Kawaki, but I don't want to talk about that right now. If you want a video about more Boruto's development though, I'm more than happy to turn this into more videos. But
so just want to comment real quick on the whole willing to die on command, which is true. We did see that, and if you saw the anime, by now you will have also seen it. But I always found it a little bit weird that, okay, so he's shown that he clearly has the resolve to give up his own life if it means protecting the world, protecting his dad, protecting his family and his village, his friends. Why isn't he still willing to do that, even though he knows that the threat of Momoshiki is still there? Instead, he's completely changed his mind and said that I instead want to, and granted this was in the anime alone, I don't think this was in the manga, although I could be wrong, it's been a while. But he says that his goal now is to prove that Momoshiki's prophecy was wrong and that it's not going to happen. When it's like, again, if you saw the most recent chapter, well, yeah, I'm guessing he's probably regretting not just letting Kawaki do what he wants to do. But that's just me. I always sounded a little bit weird.
Right now, I'm way more interested in talking about what just happened in the most recent chapter of Boruto, which was just completely insane. Due to copyright issues, I'm not going to really be showing any new panels here or any new scans here. I don't want to get striked at all, and I'm scared of Shueisha. But I do want to talk about the new chapter, since it was extremely important, extremely interesting. And supposedly, Boruto is going to be getting a part 2, similar to how...
Okay, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that is indeed true. I ran into a little bit of that trouble myself in the past. It wasn't fun. I had to, try to deal with it behind the scenes. I didn't want to do the whole thing of posting on Twitter and saying, hey, you do what the hell. It's like, again, nothing against anyone who does that. I mean, I understand why some people feel like they have to, because they try to deal with it behind the scenes and they feel like they're getting nowhere. So they feel like, okay, well, if you're not going to help me, privately, then I got no choice but to take this public. And that almost always gets YouTube's attention, which again shouldn't really be the case, because if a content creator is coming to you publicly and asking for help, you should give them your help. But I mean, again, what are you going to do? But yeah, I did run into that problem in the past. That's why I do my best to do things like keep filters on top of images and only show a few images, and even then only for like a few seconds at a time, to make sure they have absolutely nothing on me. Look, I would love to just be able to, not everything obviously, but to use some images, just the ones that I need to, support what it is that I'm discussing at the moment. But unfortunately, again, Japan doesn't really believe in fair use. They don't really believe in any of that stuff. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? You just have to You just have to deal with it, and you have to deal with YouTube for some reason still allowing them to file these completely false and unfounded claims, even though one of the rules specifically says that if you file a false copyright claim, then we remove your ability to do that. But for some reason, they haven't done that for Shueisha. But what are you going to do? It's not just Shueisha, granted, to be fair. It's literally every company that's out there, whether it's from Japan or in the US or the UK or wherever the company is based, they always just allow them to do this. I don't know why. It's dumb. I've honestly stopped trying to figure it out a long time ago, because I don't think we'll ever figure it out, because YouTube doesn't care. They don't. Let's just be honest at this point. They don't care. Let's just be honest.
Naruto got a part 2 in its manga versus its anime. The anime.
Oh yeah, I guess I should say that this part will be including spoilers for the Boruto manga. Again, I didn't check when this video was uploaded, but I'm guessing he's probably talking about the most recent chapter, at least by the time I'm recording this video. So yeah, just again, if you don't want spoilers for the manga, you might want to leave now. So there's your warning.
We're maybe about to get Boruto Shippuden or something like that. They keep advertising that Boruto Part 1 is ending, but Boruto Part 1 in the manga, at the point that the anime is at now, didn't say anything about Part 1 or anything like that. So I think it's just gonna be a situation like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, where the anime splits the two up, but the manga just keeps them the same going through. But anyway, let's talk about the chapter a little bit. So Boruto just lost everything, like with the exception of Sarada. Boruto literally lost everything. Him and Kawaki can't be friends anymore, for one. Like, that hasn't been touched on yet, but him and Kawaki are in no way friends or brothers anymore at all. And not after what Kawaki just did, Boruto has to hate him. Boruto recently got his scar. We saw Kawaki slice his eye open whenever Boruto was protecting Sarada. But yeah, Sarada is the only person Boruto has left at this point. The time skip is 100% coming soon. I know people have been saying that forever now, like around 2 years or so since I started reading Boruto. People have been saying
for a while now, every time a new chapter comes out, it's like, oh, time skip. But no, now it seems like, yeah, okay, it is indeed happening.
The time skip is coming, but the time skip is coming extremely soon now. It just sort of has to. And I could see Boruto maybe leaving the village, similar to what Naruto did, coming back to the village at the end of the time skip. Maybe. We don't really know yet, but it's definitely possible. I could definitely see them going in that direction.
Okay, so just real quick. Now I am going to do a video where I am going to give my full thoughts on this, but I just want to touch on this a little bit when it comes to the whole Boruto losing everything. So this is something that was teased all the way back in the very first arc of the Boruto series, or the very first arc of the Boruto manga, not the anime. The anime had like a few mini arcs before it eventually got to this. But the versus Momoshiki arc, which I guess you could say is like the first official arc of the Boruto series, I guess, technically. At the end of the arc, we got this prophecy from Momoshiki, because we know that Momoshiki, his Byakugan allows him to see a little bit into the future. We know this. And he even dropped that line of, he said this to Naruto where, it's a shame you have all this power, Fox, or I guess technically he was talking to Kurama. He sees Naruto and Kurama as being the same person. He doesn't see them as two different people. He says, it's a shame you have all that power and no way to pass it on to the next generation, talking about how, you can't like pass on a Jinchuriki's power. Like a Jinchuriki can't pass their power on to their children, just like how, like Sasuke, for example, has the Rinnegan, but Sarada doesn't, because we know that the Rinnegan can't be passed down to, your children, because Hagoromo, like, he's Kaguya's son. Kaguya had the Rinne Sharingan, but Hagoromo only had the Rinnegan. And just like how Hagoromo had the Rinnegan, but his brother got the Byakugan. And we know that, well, the Byakugan can be passed down to like the their children. At least I think, yeah, I think it can, but the Rinnegan can't for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think it's ever explained why that's the case. Now his son Indra, Hagroma's son Indra, did get the Sharingan, and then his descendants were also born with the Sharingan, but again, not the Rinnegan, which is, again, I don't think it's ever explained why that's the case, but it is what it is. And he, after being hit by that giant Rasengan powered up by Naruto's chakra, and he talks to Boruto, and this is the one where he also gives him the karma mark. He tells him that, those blue eyes will eventually take everything away from you. And that was the first time we ever heard it. And a lot of us were wondering, like, okay, well, what does that mean? Now, granted, when Ada was first introduced, and I'm still kind of kicking myself for not making a theory video talking about this, but my theory for a while now was, Momoshiki specifically said those blue eyes will eventually take everything away from you. Now, it's understandable how someone could think, when Momoshiki said this, because he was looking at Boruto, he was talking about, oh, maybe he's talking about Boruto, like his ability, his Jogan, or his eyes or whatever, but not necessarily. Because if he said your blue eyes will eventually take everything away from you, then okay, that would have been like a clear, direct, statement to Boruto himself. But he specifically said those blue eyes. So, and when we've got the first look at Ada, or the colored version of Ada, like where we actually get to see what she actually looks like, not in black and white, and you see her eyes, I was like, oh, wait a minute, Momoshiki said those blue eyes will eventually take everything away from you. What if this is who he was talking about? And I know I'm not the only one who did that. I'm sure there's plenty of other people who also came to that same conclusion, but again, still kind of kicking myself for not making that video. And it turns out, again, I did say this section was going to contain spoilers for the manga, at least the latest chapter. And it turns out that actually was indeed the case. Ada's blue eyes ended up using the Shinjutsu Omnipotent to manipulate people's memories into thinking that Kawaki is Boruto and Boruto is Kawaki. And that's essentially the fulfillment of the prophecy, because right now, everyone that he knows has basically turned against him. Everyone except Sarada. And keep in mind, we still don't know why Sarada is immune. We don't know. I really hope it's not something stupid like what people have been saying, that, oh, because she's in love with Boruto, Boruto's an Otsutsuki, and we know these abilities don't affect Otsutsuki or blood relatives. I really hope that that's not the case. I hope and pray that's not the case, because that's so stupid. I really hope that's not it. I hope there's something else. But then again, that might actually be the case, because a lot of the theories that people have had for some of the mysteries, like for example, the pod, remember when people were speculating who Amado had in the pod? People were speculating, oh, maybe it's a clone of Minato, maybe it's a clone of Shisui, maybe it's a clone of Madara, maybe it's a clone of Hashirama, whatever, maybe it's another Kashin Koji. We don't know. But a lot of people thought that the most obvious answer is, oh, this is another Delta, and it turns out that that's the case. So I really hope that whole it's because they're in love with Boruto thing doesn't turn out to be the case, because my god, that would be so damn stupid and cheesy and lame. Just so fucking lame. But we'll see. Now, what was I going to say? The whole thing about, Sarada's immune, and then we had Momoshiki say that, usually it's the people who are immune to this ability are the ones who suffer the most. And I think that personally for me, what he meant by that is that, we know that this ability affects everyone, and it manipulates their memories into thinking whatever the person who cast it wants it to be. And the only people who are not affected by it, are the only ones who are essentially living in a world where people believe in something that isn't the case. And so essentially they're alone in the world, because they're the only ones who know what actually happened. So I think that's probably what Momoshiki meant by those who are immune to this are the ones who suffer the most. And that's just kind of my thoughts on that. Now, when it comes to the prophecy, again, I'll make a video dedicated to this topic and on my specific thoughts on the prophecy and like, what did I think of it? Like, do I think this was worth the wait or whatever? For me personally, it's not that I hate it. It's just, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know personally how I feel about it. Like, I need to think about this a little bit, and hopefully I'll make the video before the next chapter comes out, because we're a little over 2 weeks away from getting the newest chapter. So I'm gonna try to get that video out before the next chapter comes out. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while now, ever since the chapter came out, and I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, a lot of people, have come up with theories, and a lot of them sound interesting, that, maybe Momoshiki is going to take over Boruto and he's going to just start massacring everyone. Maybe that's what, those blue eyes, that's what he meant by, blue eyes will eventually take everything from you. Honestly, again, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about it yet, at least as we're recording this video. I hope that when I sit down to record my thoughts on how the prophecy was fulfilled and how specifically they wrote this, maybe I'll figure it out. Now, from a writing perspective, I do think it's interesting. It's something I don't think anyone saw coming, definitely. I don't think anyone predicted that this was how the story was going to go. I know some people, including myself a little bit, did kind of think that maybe what we were seeing at the beginning was a bit of a bait and switch, that the opening where we see Kawaki against Boruto, and we immediately thought that, oh well, Boruto's got to be the good guy because he's the Hokage's son, and Kawaki's the bad guy because he's going up against Boruto. But maybe we were being tricked, and then maybe it's actually the opposite, at least in a way, and it turns out that did happen. But I don't think anyone expected it to happen like this. I don't think anyone thought that this was how it was going to go. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Now let's go ahead and finish this video.
Something important to note is there's this new omnipotence thing going around in Boruto now. Momoshiki just brought it up this chapter, but it's basically where Ida's ability to enchant everyone comes from. It's born from this omnipotence power. Kawaki can activate his omnipotence power through Ida. We knew Kawaki had something similar to this, which is just, being able to grant wishes or desires, whatnot. Because that's why Amato wanted him in the first place. That's just what Otsutsuki's can do. They can bring hope. They have the power of hope, something like that. We knew Kawaki had something like this. We did.
I will say this. I really hope that doesn't turn out to be the case, because I always thought that the whole thing about Ishiki, and I know about the mythology that it's, inspired his character, his abilities, and having like the wish granting mallet and all that, and even the design on his body is like, it looks like a mallet, and I'm like, or not just on his body but even on his back, like the cloak that he wears. I really hope that's not the case, because if it's true, then dude, I mean, like, there are already a lot of like incredibly broken abilities in Naruto, but giving someone the ability to grant wishes, no, I mean, that's just, come on, like there has to be a limit. All right, I mean, I know, again, we've got some pretty broken abilities in Naruto, but there has to be a limit. There has to be a point where you go, okay, this is getting to be a little bit too ridiculous. All right, like, okay, this is where we stop. All right, if we cross this line, then we might as well just do whatever. Like, again, just, I really hope that's not the case. Or if they do, they better put some serious, and I mean serious, restrictions on that ability, because if you give someone the ability to just grant whatever wish they want, then you're gonna constantly be asking, okay, well, why didn't this person just wish for this? Why didn't if they can just grant wishes to whoever, why don't they just grant this person this wish? Or why don't they grant that person that wish? Or if this person is struggling with this, why don't they just wish for this? So there better be some serious restrictions on this ability if it actually does indeed end up happening. Just wanted to say that real quick.
Didn't know it was to this extent though, but Ida basically rewrote everyone's mind, and now everyone thinks that Boruto is the outsider and Kawaki is Naruto's son. They also think now that Boruto is the one who killed Naruto. Now the only person who doesn't seem to be affected by this ability is Sarada, like I mentioned earlier, but Momoshiki says apparently, allegedly, the people who don't get affected by this ability are the people who generally suffer the most.
Yeah,
now
we talked about that a little bit.
It's possible Amato and Sasuke aren't affected for a specific reason. Amato might not be affected due to the ninja tools in his eyes that we know he has. And the reason I say Sasuke might not be affected is because if you look at the panel where Boruto is separated from everyone, everyone's looking directly at Boruto, but Amato is looking directly at Sasuke. Possibly seeing that too, he can see that Sasuke actually knows what's going on here isn't right or something like that. It's just a theory. I'm not claiming that as 100% fact or anything, but
that's something that a lot of people have been theorizing too, and a lot of people have been theorizing that there was one theory. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who said this. If by some chance you're watching this video, please let me know in the comments. But I know someone online or someone on Twitter did post this theory that Sasuke, the reason why he gave Boruto the headband is because he knew something like this might happen, and he basically gave it to him as a backup in case if it does happen, it'll help him essentially snap out of it, kind of like what happened with Itachi when he gave Naruto Shisui's eye, and then when he met up with Naruto again when he was reanimated, he brought out the crow that he gave Naruto that had Shisui's eye, and he was able to use it to cast Kodo Matsukami on himself and essentially free himself from Kabuto's control. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think that again, like if that is true, then they're gonna have to explain how Sasuke even came up with this, because in order for him to come up with this plan, he would need to know that the ability omnipotence actually exists. And if he knows this, then why didn't he tell Shikamaru? Why didn't he tell Naruto? Why didn't he tell Sai? Why didn't he tell other Leaf Shinobi? Why didn't he tell his his colleagues that, hey, Ada has this ability, and it seems like Amato didn't tell us. Now either he didn't know, or like with a lot of things, he kept this from us, and we need to know why he kept this from them. Now, again, I don't think that's the case, because it's highly implied that Amato didn't know that this ability even exists. So it's doubtful that he kept any documents about the ability in the hideout that Sasuke went to go check out before he, before he came back and found out about what happened with Code and everything. So I don't think that's the case, but I do think that it is highly possible that Sasuke wasn't affected. I think that him and Sarada were not affected. This is just my own personal theory, but I think the reason why those two weren't affected is because technically they do have Otsutsuki DNA in them. Because remember, they both are Uchiha, they have the Sharingan, and they're both technically descended from an Otsutsuki. Now, it is very, very far descended from an Otsutsuki, but they still technically have Otsutsuki DNA in them. So it is possible that that's what helped them fight off this ability, is because it doesn't, again, according to Momoshiki, it doesn't affect Otsutsukis or I think he only said that people who are Otsutsukified are the ones who are immune to this. And he specifically doesn't know why Sarada is unaffected by this. Now, he didn't bring up Sasuke, but then again, just because he didn't bring up Sasuke doesn't mean that it's not true, because remember, Momoshiki doesn't technically know everything. I think the only reason why he figured out that Sarada was immune is because he saw her specifically react to, or he saw her be confused as to why Momoshiki is attacking Boruto. So he was able to figure out, oh, she must be immune to this. So I don't think it's because he just knew immediately that, Sarada was going to be immune. There's even people theorizing that maybe Sumire is also immune to this because she was immune to Ada's enchantment. Again, we don't know why, but hopefully, I'm hoping that the next chapter will give us an explanation as to why Sarada and Sumire, and if Sasuke is immune, that they explain to us why that's the case. And yeah, he did point out that in the panel where you see that whole everyone standing next to Kawaki and Boruto standing alone, you see that if you look at Amado, he's actually looking over at Sasuke, and you're like, okay, well, why is he looking at Sasuke? Now, I took a look at that panel, again, after I saw these theories, and I was like, I guess technically, if you look carefully, it does kind of look like he's looking at Kawaki, actually, just based on where he's standing. Because, the whole thing of where they're all standing together, it looks a little bit weird, I'm not going to lie. It doesn't look like it's drawn correctly from that perspective that it's drawn from. So it's possible that maybe Ikimoto was originally planning to draw Amado either looking at Kawaki, or maybe he's supposed to be looking at Boruto like everyone else. It's just the way he's standing and the way his head is drawn kind of makes it look like he's looking at Kawaki or Sasuke, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. We'll see. We're just gonna have to wait until the next chapter before we get some more information. But yeah, let's go ahead and finish this video.
Yeah, it's literally just a theory, But yeah, this chapter was absolutely insane, absolutely crazy. I didn't think that anything like this would happen. I definitely did not expect a twist like this. It's definitely one of my favorite twists that I've come across in recent manga or anime, something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Obviously, if you like the video, like it, subscribe, and have a nice day.
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to end this video. You know, I'm gonna try to wrap up the video because we're already over an hour, and this is just a 60-minute video. Jesus. But yeah, look, Boruto definitely has developed. I think that the answer to that question is pretty obvious at this point. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, I feel like I've already said more than enough in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And like I said, if you have any recommendations, please let me know what they are in the comments as well. Consider leaving a like, share this video out there, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. All those things go a long way in helping this video out with the algorithm, because it sees that, oh, this video is getting a lot of engagement, so I'm going to push it out to more people, and that more people get to see it, which leads to more engagement, which leads to, you know, the video performing a lot better. Now, you can also consider becoming a channel member by just clicking on the join button next to the subscribe button, and that'll just allow you to take the next step in supporting this channel. And again, it's completely optional. If you can't, that's completely understandable. Nothing wrong with that. Just watching, subscribing, liking, and sharing and commenting still helps with, you know, supporting this channel. And I hope I'll see you guys for my next video. Bye for now.